to The Balancing Act. Now here's your hosts, Jamie Wonko and Joe Vitale.
Hello, and welcome back to the Balancing Act podcast. I am Jamie Wonko. I'm here with Mr. Joseph Vitale.
Yes, it was just St. Joseph's Day. I didn't get the pastries, though. I got to do that.
They're gross.
Are we fighting?
Yeah.
Are we fighting?
No, certainly not. But I will say, recently, and her name ends with an I, so you know she's Italian. Had to say, like, what's up with the Italians and their terrible, terrible dessert options.
So I don't like the custard filling, but I am partial to the cannoli filling. But they also have to be fresh. That's the whole thing.
I like old. I want it like 6 months plus old is what I prefer.
Oh, good, nice.
Like I go into a bakery and I'm like, "Are these old?
Are these old? Can I have them 6 months ago?"
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, we are in our spring break era. This is our spring break episode.
Spring breakers.
Yes.
Did you go on spring break? Dial it back. Dial it back.
In college once.
Yeah.
I think we went to Cancun.
I'm sorry. You think?
No, we did. We went to Cancun. It was only once.
Who's we?
It was me, my friend that lives in Colonia, and a lot of his friends, like from Rutgers. They had like a big trip of like a whole bunch of people, like 20, 25 people with like a group. And then there was all sorts of stuff that happened with like the flight got canceled. Then it got moved to LaGuardia Airport, and then they couldn't get us a flight home. And it was a mess. And everybody was just kind of over it by the time we were done with the trip. So it kind of like soured the whole thing from the beginning. But it was good. I mean, I'm not like a huge like indie club partier. It's not really my thing. But we had a good time. It was fun. What about you? Did you spring break it?
Of course I did.
Okay. I want.
Of
where
course
did we go?
I did.
Of course you did.
I went to Cancun and it was the best, most fun. You just listed like 4 things about it that you didn't like and didn't say one thing that was good.
No, I mean, I also I wasn't really like, it's kind of a wallflower. Like I really wasn't like the outgoing.
What year was it?
Oh God. Maybe 1996, 95, 96, maybe.
Okay. All right.
I can't even
Well,
remember.
Senor Frogs?
Probably. We did go to Senor Frogs. We went
Did you go down the slide?
I did not go down the slide.
Do you remember do you know what I'm talking about though?
I do remember what you're
Okay. Let's paint the picture for all you listeners out there who never went to Cancun, Mexico on spring break. One of the bars had a slide and you would slide down it into the sea.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember like my 19-year-old self thinking like that's dangerous and worrying about people doing it.
But you did it anyway. Did you do it anyway?
Oh, no.
No. Because I know how you are. I know how you are around water. So
yeah, but not at night and not, with liquor and also not in the dark in another country.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Did you go to a foam party?
We did go to a foam party. That was fun. I do remember the foam party.
Okay.
We had a good time at the foam party. I do remember that.
Okay.
A lot of it I don't remember, not for
because you were drinking.
Not for drunken reasons, really. Just for more of like, just don't remember the like all of the experience because it's been over 20 years, like 30 years almost.
You didn't mac it to any sweet honeys during that week?
No.
Were you wifed up? Did you have a lady?
I was not wifed up, but I also had, as my lovely bride can attest, I have zero Riz, as the kids would say. I am not Viz with the Riz. Shout out to Viz.
Oh, Viz.
Yeah, we love him.
Love him. He sent me a box of tissues today as just like a hey girl gift.
He's so nice.
Thoughtful. So thoughtful.
I didn't think that I was going to talk about like what is our favorite Easter candy, and you went into drunken stupor. So I really
listen. Spring break comes in many forms, and that. Can I just say one more thing about? I also went to Florida. I had a couple of nice spring breaks, but I will say as a college student. But I will say that my greatest memory of spring break-in was that Eminem song came out. The original.
Oh.
and I can never, wherever I am, sometimes the supermarket, sometimes TJ Maxx, and the song comes on. For me, it immediately brings me back to spring break.
That
Slim
is
Shady. Hi, my name is
that
Slim Shady.
that is you, and I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could rap every word. Absolutely. But yeah, once I was commuting to college, so
Same.
once I went down to TCNJ, which is where I did my undergrad, I transferred in there, and like I was working, I was working at a restaurant. I had jobs and stuff, so I didn't really like save money for going away on spring break. I was saving it for other things. It just wasn't a. I guess it wasn't a priority.
And that's the story of why Joe is not fun.
I am.
How much did spring break cost?
I don't know.
It was,
Really,
I
we just
mean,
didn't do it. We just didn't do it. It wasn't like in our way of doing
okay.
things.
So a couple of years from now, our kids are gonna want to go on spring break,
Yeah, but
and
Drew's gonna need to rest. I don't know if he's gonna be able to take all
he's
the
only
party.
gonna be able to, have fun. Well, I mean, he does like the nightlife. So as
He
long as
does.
he only is required to do something from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., he'll be fine because those are his hours. So what will you say? Will you tell
Oh,
them, "Oh, no, you'll be cool," like,
uh,
"Yeah, go for it."
I don't know. It's gonna depend. It's gonna
Or are
depend on
you gonna
who.
tell them you're gonna regale them with your story of, like, your spring break, and it was like, "And we had a flight, and, Will you tell them that version?
Um, no, I would say for them to go with a respectable company, for one. And I don't think my wife really went away on spring break either, while she was in college. What's that? Oh yeah, she did go to Disney World, once on spring break. I do remember that.
Okay.
She took some
You were
pictures.
already dating?
We were already dating at the time. We did not go away together. Don't know
Okay.
why.
Jason
Um,
went my guy went a couple places. I know he went to Jamaica. I feel like Jamaica, maybe somewhere else.
I did go to places
Yeah.
like with friends of mine, like in the summer. Like we went to one
No,
time. We
no,
went to the Bahamas.
no.
We did like a
Do you remember
little.
the commercial for the Bahamas?
No, I don't remember the commercial for the Bahamas.
I've been teaching, the Caribbean and Central and South America, and the other day, it was, like, all I could think of. Alright, if I sing it, you think you'll remember?
I might. I don't know.
Okay. It travel, commercial for the Bahamas, and it went like this: "It's better in the Bahamas."
I don't remember it. I really don't. I swear. And I am a lexicon of trivia, as we know. And oh, I don't even know if I told you this. Speaking of trivia, that we had like a pep rally thing at school, like the brain show came. Um, and
Oh, the
if
day I
any of
had the class trip.
yes, and if any of
Yeah?
my coworkers are listening, I'd like to apologize because we got pulled up as like a teacher round, and I dominated my coworkers. So
Oh.
I had to put it down and really destroy everyone. And I even like stopped answering questions because I didn't want to make it a complete runaway. Yeah, I'm that
Wow, you
arrogant.
should
No,
have.
I know I should have. I didn't do
And
it.
then you should have taken part of the set and just, like, grabbed
Smashed it.
it and just smashed it. Ah!
Kids love the brain show. It's a good time.
Yes,
Um,
there was some very positive feedback about the Brain
yes.
Show. Shout
So
out
now,
Brain Show if you wanna sponsor us, Brain Show.
yeah, shut up, brain show.
I don't know.
So now that we are in our spring break era, some people had spring break last week, and some people are having spring break the week after Easter, like we are.
Well, some
Um,
people have it this week
yeah, some people have it
or
this week.
last week or
Yes,
next week or never.
or never. Um, it's funny because some of the students that I work with when I do online tutoring, they're
Mhm.
in districts in like Virginia and Maryland, and they have a 2 week spring break, which
Huh.
I thought was strange, just
Wow.
because of the timing of it. Um,
Hmm. I
yeah, that
wouldn't
was
want 2 weeks right now.
no, I would not want 2 weeks
No.
right now. I would want a week,
Yeah.
because they're at that point, where we
Yeah.
are hanging on for dear life to get to a break. So,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I got to ask now. My one question was, what when little Jamie got her Easter basket with the pigtails and the My Little
Mm.
Pony and the little whatever it else that she was playing. What was the
Strawberry
favorite?
shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to get the
Rainbow
reference.
Bright.
Oh yeah. I would like to know, what is the favorite Easter candy? because I have a definitive answer, which is controversial.
A
So.
favorite candy for Easter?
Yes.
What makes it Easter?
You
I do.
know.
Okay, so when we were kids, we had. Oh, you know what? This is actually a good one because I did not realize that this was a thing until I was an adult. Adulting. There are people who get a new basket every single year,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are people who have a basket that gets put away in the attic and taken out and filled.
We were attic people.
Attic people.
Yeah.
But apparently, never the twain shall meet. They are very different crowds, really opposite sides of the what do you mean you have an Easter basket that you use over and over and over? And I will say that my Easter basket compared to my sibling, so there was just the two of us, hers was white and
Okay.
could fit a third grader in it.
It's like a laundry basket.
It was just, yeah. Here's my Easter basket. Hers was so big, and mine was brown. And they were both wooden, but hers was like girly and white, and mine was brown and could fit like 3 jelly beans.
Oh.
It was significantly different in size,
Yeah.
which I have to say I have, and I took from my parents' house, and I have now, and I love it. It just knowing the history of it and everything, but I really liked anything gum.
Okay.
And we were not allowed to have sugar gum. We had a lot of very specific rules as a child.
Okay.
And so I loved there were these little egg plastic cartons that had 12 tiny egg-shaped gumballs.
Okay.
Oh,
That was your jam?
That just thrilled me to no end.
Okay.
Still as an adult, and this happens to me quite a bit. I just get such a thrill. I can buy this for myself, and I get so excited. When you're a kid in the store and it'd be like, "Can I have that?" Or you would think about could you add? You have to ask to buy something, and now you can just get it yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
all right. So what about you?
I have to go. Because a lot of people think they're disgusting. I go Cadbury cream eggs. I love me a Cadbury cream egg. I think that they are delicious, even though they're like complete and total sugar. But I used to down those like crazy when I was a child.
I don't think I've ever eaten one of those.
Okay, well, you're also not a trier.
It's so true. That was the commercial with actually have in my living room. I actually have the brown bunny, and it has like a cat. It's a brown bunny. It's real pretty. It's stuffed, and it has it's just a stuffed animal, not an actual bunny that's with stuffing inside. But it has this really pretty like purple bow on it, and the bow says Cadbury. And it went like book, 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 book. Right? Wasn't that the
Yep.
commercial for?
That was
Yeah.
that one I remember.
Okay. What about what do they taste like? Is it just white chocolate inside?
No, it's like a fondant kind of cream thing. It's like very sweet.
I
And
love sweet.
I just liked them as a child. So I might have to make you try one. I might have to bring one in
Wow.
for
I'm gonna
lunch.
try one.
You
I'll
should.
try one.
And then I also enjoy the day after Easter when it's like discount Easter candy bonanza.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be good, but got to get the discount M&Ms. Got to make it happen.
Well,
So.
last week I realized, whoops, I better go shopping for Easter and hadn't done that yet. And I found myself in the Walmart, and I had no bags. Super.
For those of you that listen outside of New Jersey, we have a ban on plastic bags, so you have to bring in your own reusable bags. So
fist to the sky.
yeah, so this
It's just
is
so frustrating.
So we are talking about parenting on this episode. So this is one of those like parenting things that like we all get to do. It's like this is our time. It's our time to shop for the Easter baskets. It's our time to show for the kids around. It's our time to go to Walmart without bags. So why don't you regale us with your story?
Well, so and I don't know, if anybody else has any solutions or what they do, but I've taken to buying like random objects to fill with my items. I had gotten a new laundry basket once that I was without my right. Sometimes they'll just like, just buy like a pan for the oven, like something to cook with. Anything that is like decent size enough to throw some stuff in. Sometimes I just go for it and just throw it all in the trunk. But this was like a very specific trip where it was many, 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 many bags of small things,
Hmm.
times 3. So I bought a big gray Tupperware tub, one of the ones with the top on it.
Got it.
And it was $6.98. Thank you, Walmart. And I just filled the whole thing up to the tip top.
Very good.
I don't know
I
if
mean,
if anyone else does things like that.
no, I think that's a good strategy.
Uh,
I also enjoy how we do like we get our groceries delivered sometimes, and they deliver them in bags that are reusable. And every time they bring the groceries, we get more reusable bags. So I have approximately 6,493 reusable bags.
yeah, yeah. I usually
Which
keep them in the trunk.
Me too, but how is that
Ugh.
saving the environment? Like, I'm as environmental as the next guy, but like,
Are
and then
you?
when you like, well, not that environmental. I draw the line at paper straws. I think paper straws are gross. And yeah, the reusable bags I keep in my trunk, and it's also crazy to me to think like when we go to another state, it's like, oh my god, they have plastic bags, and
Yeah.
you're like literally
Ah.
getting like bags after bags after bags after bags,
I got
bags
rid
on
of a
bags.
lot of bags during Girl Scout cookie season because we,
Ah,
so that's like a good purging time to get rid of the bags. But, yes, it is very silly if what's the difference between my giant now plastic tub that I have? It's not like they've done away with all plastic. I don't know. It's
yeah.
just another, thing. And honestly, usually things like this sort of take hold and you just get so used to it. How long have we been with the bags now? 3 years?
I think so.
Right. I haven't,
If not longer at this point, and I
yeah, I
still I still
haven't hooked
forget.
in.
I still
I will
forget.
say I do love metal straws. I love a straw. I use my metal straws. I have some like really thick, like reusable, like plastic straws. They're like American flag straws. So that I can get on board with. But I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
so are you ready for the holiday?
I am. We're just spending some family time and keeping it short, but we're not really doing anything too crazy over the break to kind of recharge the batteries a little bit, and still activities going on for the kids to play catch up during that week. That's a lot of what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
I know you might be traveling, but we are not, just because it's really not the right time for us.
It's not the right
Um,
time for me either.
yeah, which I understand. Um, but at the same time, it's never the right time. So it's also good to say, you know what, I'm going to kind of put everything that needs to be done in the world aside and do something for myself and my family that I want to do. I think that that's a great
Yeah.
decision to make.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So we'll see how Easter unfolds as it arrives. I know that there is also some other holidays going on, holiday happenings. A lot of our students are fasting right now for Ramadan, and so I've really, that opens my eyes to a lot of their experiences with, what it means to really sort of dedicate and pledge yourself to to your beliefs and your religion, and so I was thinking about some of those kids too, and it is really nice that it overlaps because I know a lot of them have to get up very early in the morning in order to eat and pray and eat, and then like to try to catch a little bit of some Z's before school. So I know that a lot of them are looking forward to having the time off as well. So then that way they can rest and it's a little bit easier for them. You know,
Yeah. No, I think that that's important for kids to be able to spend time with their families and take that time off and not have assignments or work or things like that, especially at the middle school level, because we're talking about still talking about kids that need, a time to decompress and remove things themselves. And we set a very interesting expectation for students that, we have as adults about working outside of the school day and stuff like that. Like we do expect students to do homework and assignments and stuff like that.
I hate homework.
I do know that. I do,
In
but
case the listeners haven't caught on just yet,
yeah,
I hate homework. I hate homework as a teacher. I hate homework as a parent. I hate homework. I will not fight the homework. And obviously, my kids do their homework. And I don't assign much homework, but I will say there should be a real long, hard look at the actual assignments that are being given. And to be honest with you, if it was reading every day and like a little bit of math every day, fine and fine. But it's just not. It's so much busy work, project, busy work, project,
yeah.
busy work.
And I know we're organically having a conversation that we were going to shift into talking a little bit about parenting.
Well, isn't that parenting? I'm saying
well,
as a
no,
mom,
it is.
I hate it.
Well, I really would be interesting. I'd be interested to hear about your philosophy. I mean, we just heard about how you feel about it as a parent, but I'd love for you to expand on how you feel about it as an educator. Besides, I know you hate it, but
if I have so I've taught multiple subjects. If I have students that are trying to show me that they are reading, they're interested, they're writing, they're working on their craft. Is it really expanding their knowledge? I don't know if most assignments that are given are really, and especially homework assignments when there's no one to help them. So if you're giving a kid a project and they have to do it at home and there's no one to help them, now you're sending them off into a scary environment where they can't do it on their own. They are also, often involved in many other things that are shaping them in far more profound ways than answer these 25 questions and bring it back tomorrow. I just don't see the need for the amount of homework. I even like our district policy is supposed to be 10 minutes per grade level.
Oh, that's no.
It's supposed to be 10 minutes per grade level. So if you look at an average sixth grader, should they be doing more than 60 minutes of homework a day? No. But if you ask me, do I think a child should be reading 60 minutes every single day? 100% yes.
Yeah. And I think that's, sorry, I had to adjust my headphones. I think that's an important distinction to make.
Yeah.
There are things that students can do to expand their knowledge base, like you said, reading, participation in religious studies, participation in after school activities like sports or travel sports. Like that teaches kids problem solving and team building and time management. Like those are all important skills. We're going to be having a guest come on soon that talks more about depth than breadth in regards to the assignments that they give. That'll be a future episode, but that is something that we talked about, and definitely something that I struggle with, because you and I, we've talked about it, and a lot of the, and again, I don't assign lately. I have not been assigning regular homework. I was doing like one assignment at the beginning of the week, and it would be due by the end of the week. And I had talked to them about time management and using planners, and I did executive function lessons with my students. But now, because we're in the throes of doing a couple different activities, we're working on a project right now, and just yesterday or earlier the week, I gave an assignment and I said, okay, we're going to start this in class. They had about 15 minutes to work on it. I said, okay, if you're not done, finish it up tonight for homework. Let's sit down. We're going to conference and talk about your projects, and we'll have like little team meetings and go over everything, and I'll sit with everybody. I had 4 out of 20 kids in one class do it and 5 out of 25 in another. And I understand the fact that these kids have obligations outside of school, but there's also a decline in work ethic that I've seen for situations like that. That's happened to me multiple times. And the work that we're doing is required and necessary. Like, the project that I'm referring to, like, I feel it's good. It meets students where they are. But a lot of them are hearing the requirements, and they're just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And I've never experienced that before in my career, especially with the age group that we're teaching.
Yeah, and I'm just not doing that. I don't know, I don't get a lot of "I'm just not doing that."
Oh, not
Um,
outwardly, not outwardly verbal, but just
yeah,
through behavior.
I hear more of like, "But I don't know what you mean."
Okay.
Also, we are fostering a generation that doesn't want to fail, and so what I say to them over and over and over, "It's better to be wrong than to not even try."
Yeah,
Answer
I
the
agree.
question and be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to not even try. But what I do notice is like the level of scaffolding has become, much more increased in their. What do you mean? Can I see an example? What are you saying? I don't get, so I feel like, and some of them are just not going to say, I don't understand what you mean because they don't want to look, less than compared to their peers. So some of them who are just pretending like they know and they don't know at all. But there is like that um, disconnect between things that I think we think they know and they just don't know. They
For
don't
example
know.
for
For
example.
example, make me a family tree.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this, yeah. Okay.
What?
They don't
What?
understand that.
Maternal, paternal. What?
Yeah, no,
Now, teachers I have spent a lot of time like, "They should know that." And it's like, "Yeah, okay, be mad that they don't know and then tell them anyway." And they may not know again, and they may not know again, right? You need to hear, see, read a vocabulary word over 200 times for it to become part of your comfortable usage, your vocabulary, right? So, for some reason, something has gone wrong somewhere. I'm going to overgeneralize and say that a huge piece of the communication issue that I find with my students is that they're not being spoken to enough. They're not being spoken to enough. Like
they're not
when
being spoken to enough. Okay.
they're not hearing those words, they're not hearing the language, they're not hearing and exchanging. They don't even really talk to each other in many instances. So we're missing like a lot of understanding. We're missing a lot of, and also I think too, it really does speak to like the culture of the classroom for the kids to be comfortable enough to say like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And it's okay. And it's also the age, it depends on the age that they are. And, obviously the younger they are, I think they're going to be much more willing to just say like, what? Say
Well,
that again, and then
I
they get like very self-conscious and they don't want to ask.
I allow for, multiple options for question and answer. I'm in early in the morning which is I know understand is a challenge for students to get in early in the morning, but they know that they could always send me an email and say, "Hey, I'm going to stop by tomorrow morning so we could talk about X, Y, or Z." I have the same lunch period that they do. One day I have lunch duty and the other day I don't, but like I can see them, I could pull them aside. We could talk about their work. I have very few students that actually take advantage of that. Um, but one thing.
I don't mean you
No,
personally. I
no,
mean, like,
I
it's a
understand.
it's a widespread problem
Yeah,
that we're hearing and reading and seeing and viewing, and gosh, there's videos and TikToks and reels and constant, about where is the disconnect. Also, it's like, how can you have taught something many, many times and they just don't know it? They just don't know it.
yeah,
They just don't know. So I think that there's, also that issue of like when we bring in their homes, I think that we're also when I say like they're not really being spoken to or with or round, the idea of like everyone in the family is we're all going to watch something together. Everybody in the family is going to have dinner together. Everyone is going to do this together. I mean, even the car, where it's like, to me, the car is my favorite place to be with my kids because they
mhm,
can't get away. They can't get away from me. So if I'm talking to them and asking them questions, they have to answer me because we're trapped. Right? I love it. I actually had a catechism class, and they had said like if you want to pray with your kids, the best place to do it is in the car. Make it a
Interesting.
habit. Every day you're pulling out of that driveway and you say a prayer together. And it becomes just so commonplace, right? It's like they can't get away from you because they're in the car. And that would like clicked with me. And now even having a teenager, I having to drive him and drive him and drive him. It's like, I love this. Only like, how can I, it's like, how can I bright side this situation of like, oh, I'm always in the car. But I love it because it is the most amount of time that we get together, because then he's home and he's in his room or he's out with his friends. He's not around, and I love that about the car. But I do think like what happens, I mean, AirPods, headphones, how many people, TV in the car,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, that's just the car. But think about like when you were a kid, TV in the car, there was no TV in the car. Even music. Did you listen to your own music or did you listen to your parents' music?
Yeah.
You listen to your parents' music. So even when I say to the kids, like, I wasn't around in the 50s and 60s, but I know the music because it was my parents' music and it connected us to each other. Who is that? What's the song about? Anything to talk, right? So when we're looking at some of these issues, like not just as teachers, but as parents as well, are we missing opportunities to genuinely communicate with our children and not just to hear about their issues, their problems, their dreams, their desires, not just to hear about those things, but for them to hear us, which also then stems to what we're interested in and our vocabulary,
Mm-hmm.
just general vocabulary, right? So, there's all these like lack of opportunities to genuinely communicate and share ideas, thoughts, experiences, and words. So I think that's part of what we're hearing or lacking from the students in the classroom often. I don't know
That's
if some of them even know how to ask the
and
questions.
that's one of the things I've tried to return to is discussion-based inquiry and having them, talk to one another to solve problems. Like those are things that I had one student who recently said, "We never really play any games in here." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because we're just sitting in front of a screen playing a game, answering trivia questions. Like that's not
Right.
learning. Like we're not discussing, reasoning, coming up with any, original thought. We're not doing that." And I'm trying to encourage them to do that because I think I follow a couple people online and on social media who talk about like what employers are going to look for, and they're going to look for employees to be able to solve their own problems, whether that be with ChatGPT in an effective and appropriate manner, or whether that be in a way where they're using thinking and reasoning to be able to solve problems on their own. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for people to be coddled and babied through something. I think employers are looking for people to come into a job and be empowered and make decisions on their own, not in a vacuum by following, what needs to be the policies or procedures that need to be followed, but to be able to think and reason about what is best in this particular situation.
Right.
So the idea of problem solving and being able to discuss and work with a team, I think is an invaluable thing that does not happen at this particular level. And it's also been challenging because we're dealing with the screen generation, right? Um, I've talked about some my goddaughter who's going through her student teaching right now, and the fact that she's teaching third graders, and she might be closer in age to be able to relate to these kids. So maybe there'll be a crest of a wave eventually that we'll be able to kind of get to the other side, and education will change and shift as it always has. Um, but right now, it is just, it is a struggle, and I feel that the struggle is also happening with teachers in the classroom and parents at home, which is something that we've talked about and we've gotten some feedback about from listeners and people that we know about the aspects of parenting that we have talked about.
Yeah.
There is a rather popular open letter to parents on the illusion of adulting.blogspot.com. And we're going to put the link to this letter because it's rather lengthy, but we'd love for you, if you're listening, to go to the link and read it. And it really talks about, how parents can better support teachers in the classroom. Um, and the decisions that maybe you made, like when you argued with the volleyball coach and about the decision that they made, instead of telling your athlete to show up and do the work and push it through themselves, you called not their coach, but the school administrators to complain because the coach made a choice you didn't agree with. Like I don't remember who it was, but there was a very high level basketball coach who he said, when I watch my child play basketball, I'm watching my child play basketball. When they come to me and they complain about basketball, I say, go talk to your coach. I'm not your coach. They're their coach. If you don't like the decision, you have to go and advocate for yourself. So I feel when we are bulldozing and knocking down barriers for our children, we are also creating students that are going to that want to live in a world where all of their obstacles just part like the Red Sea, and they're able to get to the end result that they want to without any obstacles being in their way. And I think that does a disservice to kids, especially at this age, middle school to high school age.
Yeah. I go back and forth a little bit about, being like the mom protector and doing certain things that I like, certain things that I've done for my kids over the years. That, I'm sure someone from the outside looking in would say was bulldozing or helicoptering or lawn mowering or whatever, whatever term you want to call it. So I tend to kind of go in on this one with kid gloves only because, there are certain fights that I've had on behalf of my kids, even just in like the education realm, that I genuinely stand by and would do it again. I would do it 100 times over. But, it isn't necessarily it isn't necessarily maybe always the same thing in the same way. I know the letter that you're talking about, references respect for authority, why teachers don't want to be teachers, why people are leaving the profession, why are people living in iPad houses,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is more and more common. And so I think that it's, might be easy to say, parents don't take the obstacles out of the way of your kids. But I think it's probably more of, it's a combination of a lot of different things, not just being one example of it. But I think if you're looking at it from the point of view of a coach, I can see how it would be different than maybe a teacher.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I comment on something that's actually in the I know I
Yeah.
said I wasn't going to read the whole thing, but there are a
Yeah.
couple of points that you made.
Yeah.
And the author goes on to write that this is why we have a teacher shortage. This is why the quality of education is slipping all over our nation, because teachers now have to teach and manage a myriad of basic life skills that should not be their job. They have to teach emotional regulation to teenagers whose brains have been trained for technology addiction. They have to teach the concept of respecting authority to children who have been conditioned to get whatever they demand.
Yep.
They have to teach responsibility to kids who have never been made to take ownership of anything because their parents refuse to parent. And those are bold statements. Like, and again, I'm reading it from an article, and there's things I agree with, and there's things I agree with, and things that I don't. But I like, how many times this year have, and I'm just speaking from my experience, called a parent meeting and a parent doesn't show up. They schedule the meeting. We're going to show up on Tuesday at 9:30, and you're sitting in a room, and then nobody shows up, nobody calls, nobody comes, and God forbid there's an emergency. We understand emergencies comes up,
Sure.
but no follow-up, no phone call, no email, no anything. And I go back to something we've played on an earlier podcast. If the success begins at home, the belief that they're going to come to school and we're going to fix all the problems is just, it's not possible. We make more decisions in a school day than just about as many as an air traffic controller, it seems like. I actually did a little experiment the other day. I said to my students, I said, hey, you guys are all working on something. I'm just going to put a timer up on the board. I need 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm just checking in on makeup work. I got to look at a few things, write a couple things down. There's a couple students I have to talk to. So while you're doing your classwork, I want you to work for 5 minutes. So if you have a question about something, write it down. There's nothing, this is not a high stakes activity. It's just something I want you to be doing. And within that time frame, within that 5-minute time frame, I got asked 14 questions. And I could have easily said, no, I don't want to take any questions right now. But I just let it happen so I could keep track of
How many?
how many people asked me questions during that time. When I said, like, I just need 5 minutes
Yeah.
to make sure that I have the work from students that were absent, because we've had students out sick, the usual, right? The outbreak of this and that and the other thing, whatever it is, and you're trying to catch up with certain students, and I know it's gonna sound very petulant, but they just won't listen. They just won't, like, say, okay, I have to wait for 5 minutes. It's the instant, constant gratification. Please, like, answer me. Like, the world
Yeah.
is not going to stop turning. Okay, let's take a breath, and really focus on what's being asked of you. It's like these are training opportunities too, for me to get them. Okay, I have to compartmentalize what I'm doing and be focused and intentional, which I say often to my students about what I'm doing, and allow Mr. Vitale to accomplish what he needs to accomplish in those 5 minutes. And it just wasn't allowed to happen. And I also did that in multiple classes, and the same thing happened.
They can't get enough of you.
Well, I mean, I am a
Just
delight.
can't get enough.
I am a
Yeah.
delight.
It just shows how much they are desiring interaction.
Mhm.
Really, genuinely. They
Whether it be
need
positive
you.
or negative.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't
It
matter what
doesn't
the
matter.
attention is.
No. I mean, and it's funny too, like I have I have a master's degree in bathroom. I often say to the kids, you have no idea how many I took so many classes in bathroom in college just so that I could help you get to the bathroom, be here at the bathroom. But it is so true. I have so many kids who come to see me at the bathroom.
Mhm.
I don't know if they're and I'm really not that I'm not even that nice. So it's like I'm not, it's like people are, oh, you want to be friends with them. There's a lot of like that throwing back and forth of like, oh, they like you. Why? You just want to be friends with them. And it's creating a rapport of mutual respect, listening, right?
Mhm.
And I make full on eye contact with them, give them my undivided attention. It usually lasts maybe a minute, if not 30 seconds. And it is so important. Everything. I look at them genuinely to see, are they needing that moment? And I feel like it really is just an epidemic of needing interaction, genuine, undivided, human, eye to eye interaction.
Yeah.
Nothing more. Right. So if we're saying like that part about the iPad house really struck me. I mean, there have been times for me as a parent that my own children are, like, oh, mom, you're on your phone. And it is such a difficult space because, I started actually like announcing what I'm doing on the phone as if I need to justify what I'm doing to my kids, but it is, yeah, I'm answering the email. I'm paying for your summer camp. Yeah, I'm ordering you a t-shirt. Yeah, I'm looking up the medicine that the doctor wants you to have, right? It's like
Yeah.
so I get that part of, why a parent might have a difficult time because I have a difficult time as a parent always giving my kids my undivided attention at every, moment that they want it right then. And yet we're sort of saying like, well, what's the problem here? And what's going on here? And why are there so many of them lacking self-regulation, right? That's the kind
Yeah.
of the term that you used. Are we all being great role models for that?
I think that's a good question to
I mean, if
stop
people are
on.
throwing stuff at each other and
Yeah, I think and this was not, this was not planned. I mean, we knew what we were going to talk about today, but we've had such a good discussion. I think that our next non-episode episode
Hmm.
will be, I think we're going to have a continuation of this. conversation.
Part 2?
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a part 2 of this one.
With a Cadbury egg in each hand?
There just might be a Cadbury egg in each hand, and we're going to make you try it live. We're going to do it live. We're going to try
Do it live.
That is absolutely. I'm going to make a note of that, and that is.
I'll bring my
absolutely
teeny tiny Easter basket.
Yes, your teeny tiny Easter basket, and then we'll bring your sister's laundry basket in. We're gonna encourage you to follow us on all the socials, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. We have some exciting announcements coming this spring, and some awesome guests that are coming. Momentum for us is building. We're posting more on social media. We want to hear from you as well, and we would love for you to use word of mouth to spread the message of our podcast far and wide to any of your colleagues, friends, or family that you think would benefit from our message. So please continue to do that. It's most appreciated. And we're going to have part 2 of this parenting episode at the next time that we have a you and me little session.
Can't wait.
Plus Cadbury eggs. Okay. Thanks a lot for watching. And as always, Jamie, I appreciate you as always.
Mr. Vitale, as always, I appreciate you.
Okay. And if you do go away on spring break, just make sure you don't go down the slide at Senior Frogs.
I'll see you there in the foam party. I'll see you.
Probably not. Hashtag germs. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Listening to the Balancing Act podcast. Have a topic we should discuss? Drop us a line at thebalancingactpod@gmail.com.